Former WWE superstar Rick Boogs says he departed the WWE because of a weird grudge against him and said that Vince McMahon's removal from power in 2022 effectively killed his career. Details on that, plus Jon Moxley, we've got an update on his condition after he suffered a concussion during AEW Dynamite Grand Slam last week in New York. Matt Riddle, his next move after his WWE release may have now been revealed. Mariah May could be headed to WWE or AEW after she finishes up in Japan. LA Knight, a sign of how big and highly WWE thinks of him, has been revealed after he missed SmackDown on Friday. An update on Jade Cargill's WWE in-ring name possibly has been revealed. A Becky Lynch segment is announced for this coming week's episode of NXT. Plus, Sami Callihan, his contract with Impact Wrestling is reportedly set to expire within the next week. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And let's start off talking about Rick Boogs, talking about his WWE departure and maybe giving more of an insight into this backstage power play or political power play that he was hinting at the other day. WWE had its most recent batch of talent cuts on September 21st, with many WWE stars across the main roster and NXT being released from their contracts. Now, one of the names that was released by WWE was Rick Boogs, who had only made sporadic appearances for the company after returning from a torn ACL he suffered at WrestleMania 38. Boogs has taken to his YouTube channel in the days following his departure from the company, where he claimed that his release was due to a, quote, backstage political power play. Furthermore, Boogs has also noted that the removal of Vince McMahon as the head of creative, quote, killed his career in the company, and that one person has a, quote, weird grudge against him. In the comments of his YouTube video, he wrote the following. We can actually get these up on the screen right now. So the first one said, "You came in at the tail end of wrestling. They're even going after Vince's legacy. I know people might have bad opinions about him, but they're still trying to take the testosterone out of WWE. It isn't the golden era anymore. In my opinion, you're better off without it. Being your own guy on YouTube, you are hilarious on your own and a brand in and of yourself." And Rick Boogs responded to that by saying, "I can't wait to give my opinion because it sounds like we're totally on the same page." Another comment said, "I hate they let you go. You're one of my favorites to watch on WWE and for fitness as well." And Boog said, quote, "I have a lot to say about this." Then, in a follow-up comment as well, it said, "This never would have happened with Vince at the helm. Very obvious that WWE has been reinventing their image to please network/advertisers. They're removing what they deem, quote, toxic masculinity." And he also then responded to that by saying, quote, "I can say with 100% certainty, the removal of Vince killed my career." Another comment said, "People keep talking about Dolph Ziggler being the biggest drop ball ever and all that. I don't think anything bad about Ziggler, but the fact that WWE had you on their roster, a hulking freak of nature with outlandish charisma that could fit any role they wanted to put you in, and they did mostly nothing with you just to quietly let you go. It's unbelievable. I actually can't even imagine a more ideal WWE star. Larger-than-life characters with big personalities is supposed to be the template for that place, not the exception. I think they did you dirty, man." Boogs responded to that by saying, "Pretty much everyone in the corporate side of the company agreed, which is why I was always the third-party guy doing commercials for Old Spice, Snickers, Mike's Hard Lemonade, and Toyota. However, one person clearly has some weird grudge against me." Finally, another comment said, "They probably released you because you were too big. Nobody could work with you because you're clearly out-horsed them." And Boog said, "As funny as that sounds, you're not totally wrong. Again, I'll talk about it when I can." So what are your thoughts about Rick Boogs' comments about his WWE departure? Do you think he's got sour grapes? Do you think some of his comments are accurate? And what do you think about his hint about this weird grudge against him? Do you think he's referring to Triple H? What are your thoughts on this backstage power play he spoke about previously? And is he right? If Vince McMahon was still the head of the creative helm, which he may now be once again, would he still be with WWE? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments section below. Now, a bit of an update when it comes to Jon Moxley after that scary moment on AEW Dynamite Grand Slam last Wednesday. A new update has emerged on the health and status of Jon Moxley after sustaining a concussion at AEW Dynamite Grand Slam on September 20. Following Dynamite, PW Torch reported that Moxley had been diagnosed with a concussion that actually occurred during the pre-match brawl with Rey Fénix rather than during the match itself. Moxley had been planned to retain the International Championship, but during the match the finish was changed to Fénix winning due to Moxley's condition. Speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer, who had reported that Moxley's concussion was, quote, minor immediately following the match, provided some fresh insight into the severity of the injury and his return to in-ring action. Meltzer said, quote, Moxley's okay. I don't know when he's going to come back. He's got to pass protocols, but he's not feeling any weirdness or anything like that. There's nothing of grave concern. It's just a question of when he can pass protocols and whatever. Of course, we wish Moxley the very best in the recovery from his injury. But with Moxley dropping the title in unplanned fashion, it remains to be seen how this will affect AEW's creative plans involving the title moving forward. Meanwhile, despite being the new international champion, Rey Fénix is set to compete for a chance at a different title at the Wrestle Dream pay-per-view this coming Sunday on October 1st. It was announced that Fénix and his brother Penta El Zero Miedo will team up in an AEW World Tag Team Championship #1 contender 4-way match against the Guns, the Young Bucks, and the team of Hook and Orange Cassidy. So where do you think they're going to go next when it comes to the international title? Now, one of the biggest names, if not the biggest name, released by WWE last week was Matt Riddle, and a bit of an update when it comes to his post-WWE future. An update has emerged on the future of Matt Riddle following his WWE release, with former US champion's next move potentially being revealed. Of course, Riddle was let go by WWE during last week's round of company cuts. With Riddle previously finding success in mixed martial arts and pro wrestling, there has been a lot of speculation about the former WWE star's next move as a free agent. Per Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, there's, quote, at least one major MMA promotion that is interested in bringing in the ex-WWE star. Meltzer noted, quote, I do know that Riddle has got at least one major MMA promotion, if not more, that are interested in bringing him back to MMA. Riddle notably competed on the 7th season of the UFC Ultimate Fighter in 2008 before going on a brief UFC winning streak. He has also competed in MMA promotions Bellator and Titan FC before making the transition to pro wrestling in 2015. Riddle's former Raw Tag Team Championship partner Randy Orton was recently spotted amid his WWE hiatus being at a high school gym which someone actually performed an RKO in front of him. So where do you think Riddle is going to go next? Do you think he's going to go to another pro wrestling company? Do you think he's going to be on the indies? Do you think he'll go to Japan? There have reportedly already been discussions about him possibly heading to Pro Wrestling Noah. Or could we see him return to MMA? Or could it be a combination of all of those things? Let me know your predictions about Riddle's post-WWE future. Now, speaking of Japan, one person has finished up in Japan and could be headed to either AEW or WWE, and there have been rumors previously she could be set to become All Elite. Per Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, former Goddess of Stardom champion Mariah May has now finished up with Stardom and has left Japan. With rumors swirling about May potentially signing with a major US company, Meltzer indicated that he expects to sign with a notable promotion soon. Believing that May has the potential to become a big star, Meltzer said, quote, she finished up with Stardom Saturday. She is done. She went back to England, which is where she's from. Does that mean WWE? Does that mean AEW? Does that mean somebody else? I don't know. I know that there was talk of AEW with her, but I haven't heard of any confirmation of that from anyone. But she's improved greatly. She's got a great look. She was actually a model for WWE merchandise before she became a pro wrestler, and she's someone whose dream was WWE. But obviously, she got a great offer from AEW, or even a good offer, she'd probably go. I would say expect her somewhere. She's got potential to be a big star, I think. Stardom was well aware that someone like her was going to be there for a finite length of time, but Saturday was her last show. Now, if May does go to WWE, it wouldn't be the only star making the jump from Stardom, with Kairi saying Kairi expected to make a WWE return soon. It was reported a couple of months ago that she had signed a new contract with WWE and was expected to be starting up around October, November time. So Kairi could be set to join WWE or make her return to WWE television rather very, very soon. Now, LA Knight, of course, missed SmackDown this past Friday, but actually WWE's reaction to LA Knight's absence from the show may just go to show just really how big of a star WWE considers him to be. Now, as we covered over the weekend, LA Knight was originally planned for a major role on SmackDown this past Friday, where he was supposed to save John Cena from an attack by Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa that closed the show, possibly teaming up with John Cena at Fastlane to face the Bloodline Tag Team. Unfortunately, Knight had tested positive for COVID-19 on Friday, just hours before the show, and had to leave the arena, and the attack took place with nobody saving Cena, and Uso and Sikoa simply standing tall as the show went off the air. Now, Knight's positive COVID test had a knock-on effect, as it meant he wasn't able to work this past weekend's WWE live events either. The first of those came on Saturday night in Palm Desert, California. According to Wrestling Observer, WWE actually announced before the doors opened for the show that Knight wasn't able to be there, and even went as far as offering refunds. Now, given how rarely WWE does this, they'd usually only do it for someone like Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins or someone along the level of that star power if they had to miss the show. It tells you they really do know how popular LA Knight is. Knight was absent from Sunday night's live event in Save Mart Center in Fresno, California as well. As PW Insider reported on Friday night, Knight had given WWE permission to tell media that he tested positive for COVID. That's why he was off SmackDown. It seemed as if Knight was set to team with Cena against the aforementioned Uso and Sikoa tag team at Fastlane on October 7, but obviously, as of right now, it's unknown when he'll be back, so that may have to change if indeed that is the plan. But if he does test negative before Friday, likely they'll run the angle again and they'll set up the match for Fastlane. So we'll see what happens. Of course, if we get any more information about the status and health of LA Knight, we'll let you know moving forward. Now, Jade Cargill, of course, everyone's waiting to see what happens with Jade Cargill in WWE and when she's going to make her WWE TV debut. Former AEW TBS champion Jade Cargill, of course, has officially left All Elite Wrestling, with her last match taking place against Chris Statlander on the September 15 episode of AEW Rampage. Following her departure, Jade is expected to be WWE bound, with her reportedly being at the WWE Performance Center last week, and WWE Creative said to be working on creative for the former AEW star. Cargill recently finished up with AEW, with her contract expiring on September 15, and she was removed from the AEW roster page on September 18, the same day that PW Insider reported she was in Orlando for WWE at the Performance Center. With Jade potentially set to be headed to WWE, fans have wondered if she would keep her name or if she would receive a new WWE ring name. Shortly after, WWE filed a trademark for the name Jada Parker, which many believed was going to be the name that WWE would give to Cargill upon her debut in the company. But in an update on that, the trademark name was in fact not for Jade Cargill, but rather for NXT prospect Tiana Caffey, who recently changed her social media handles to include the name. There was never actually anything to suggest the new name would be going to Cargill, other than fans creating that rumor on social media and saying it looked kind of similar to her name she used in AEW. So just to clear that up, that's not the case. Caffey made her in-ring debut on an NXT live event back in March, and the recent change of ring name would actually imply she's set to make her television debut soon as well. So if we get any more updates on plans for Jade Cargill, we'll have to wait and see. Of course, it is Monday, so it's an episode of Raw tonight. It's possible she could be there. She could be at NXT tomorrow night. Of course, NXT No Mercy is this coming weekend as well, so it's possible she could be at that event as well. We'll just have to wait and see. If we get any more information, any more stories, we'll let you know. Now, speaking of NXT, Becky Lynch, a segment for the man, has been announced for Tuesday's episode of NXT. Becky captured the NXT Women's Championship on the September 12 episode of the show, and she defeated Tiffany Stratton in the show's main event. Becky also wrestled on this past week's show, with her teaming with Lyra Valkyria to defeat Stratton and Kiana James, before announcing that her NXT Women's Championship match with Stratton at No Mercy would be held under Extreme Rules. Ahead of No Mercy, Becky is set to speak on this coming week's episode of NXT. Tiffany is expected to be at tonight's episode of Raw ahead of NXT No Mercy as well. Becky defended the NXT Women's Championship against Natalya on last week's episode of Raw. Also set for this coming week's episode of NXT is the final of the NXT Global Heritage Invitational between Butch and Gallus' Joe Coffey 2. Finally, this is quite an interesting one when it comes to the world of Impact Wrestling, because a former Impact World Champion in Sami Callihan, his contract is up very, very soon. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, another big contract in Impact Wrestling is up very, very soon. Fightful Select are reporting that they have learned that former Impact World Champion Sami Callihan's Impact contract is up in just under a week at the end of September. Callihan has been with Impact Wrestling since 2017, and there is believed to be interest from both sides on possibly re-signing. However, sources close to the situation say that Callihan is able to speak with other wrestling companies. The 36-year-old Callihan also has experience in WWE on the NXT brand, MLW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Lucha Underground. He's also promoted Pro Wrestling Revolver, which has become a top indie in the US as well. Most likely, it's expected that he will stay with Impact Wrestling. He's always called that promotion home and doesn't want to go back to WWE after his NXT experience. Of course, going to AEW is a possibility, but it looks like, as of right now, most likely he will sign with Impact. But as of right now, his contract with the company expires at the end of this month. But there you go, guys. It's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.